A lot of you asked for the pattern drafting tutorial, so here is how I drafted this outfit. First thing is to start our vertical measurement, which is our shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to half length, which is also our waistline. Our waist to hip, I'll be working with 10 inches. Our shoulder to gown length, which is also our full length, and I'll be working with 36 inches, and then 1 inch for our seam allowance. And I'll proceed to drawing a straight line for each of these vertical measurements. Our bust point line, our under bust line, our half length line, our hip line, our gown length line, and then our seam allowance line. And I'll go ahead to label each line so we don't get confused when drafting this pattern. Please ensure that the lines are straight so we can achieve the accurate measurement for this pattern. I'm trying to make sure that my lines are actually straight so that we can proceed to the next phase. Next is to draft our shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 7.5 inches. And on the bust point, I'll also measure the same 7.5 inches and then connect a straight line. And then we'll go ahead to measure our basic neckline. By the way, this is not going to be useful because we are not going to be using this neckline. And then I'll come down by 1 inch on my shoulder and then we'll connect. Next is to get our armhole depth, which is also our chest line. Simply divide your bust point by 6 plus 1.5. Mine is 8 inches and I'll start by measuring from the shoulder slope and draw a straight line. Divide what you have by 2 to get the midpoint and then go in by half of an inch. Label this as chest line and not armhole, and on that line we're going to measure our bust circumference divided by 4. Mine is 9.5 and then we'll connect our armhole. So from the center, I'm going in by half of my nipple to nipple measurement, and I'll mark all the way from the bust point to the under bust to the half length to the hip line to my full length and my seam allowance. And I'll go ahead to join all the points together with a straight line. And I extended the line all the way to the shoulder. On the under bust line, the part going towards the center, you're going out by half of an inch, and the other side, you're going out by 1.5 inch. I went ahead to mark the same measurement on the other lines, and I will go ahead to draw a straight line to connect all the points together. From the bust point, I went down by half of an inch, and I'll go ahead to connect the curves to meet the under bust. Please try as much as you can to draft the curves very well. From the shoulder, I came down by 7 inches. This is because I don't really want to reveal my bust, so I came down by 7 inches. And then on that line, I will go out by 0.75 on both sides and then connect all the way down to the bust point. The next thing we are going to do is replace whatever that we have here. Mark it out here. I have already marked my bust measurement earlier. And on my half length, I will mark my waist measurement divided by 4 and then add the 2 inches that we have already, and I will go ahead to replace it. And on my hip line, I will as well do the same. My hip measurement divided by 4 plus the 2 inches that we have here. I'll go ahead and replace it. On my gown length, which is the full length, I will mark my hip circumference divided by 4, and then I'll replace the 2 inches that we have here, and also I will add 3 inches extra in order to achieve the flare effect at the side of the gown. So next, I will go ahead and join all the points together and take it all the way to the seam allowance. I will connect the chest line to the waist, and then from the waist all the way down to the seam allowance. These dots will not be needed because we are going to be cutting it out. I'm marking it to show it will not be needed anymore. I always like to add my seam allowance on my pattern. It's easier when I want to cut it on the fabric. So from the chest line to the waist, I will add 1.5 inch seam allowance, and then right after the waist, I will mark 1 inch. This is because on that part, it's free and it doesn't require a lot of seam allowance. So I'm going to cut the pattern. Just try as much as you can to see the way I'm cutting the pattern so we don't make mistakes. This is not all for the front pattern. We're definitely coming back to it. But before then, let's proceed to cutting the back pattern. We're actually going to be using our front pattern to trace out our back pattern. For my back pattern, I would draw a straight line for my zipper allowance using 1.5 inch. Connect each point together with a straight line. Next is to bring the center front of your front piece and that of your side front. Make sure the center front is on the zipper allowance line and then align the side front close to the center front. Please ensure the lines are straight. You can see that the bustier is on top of the center front. This is how we are going to place it, and then go ahead to tape it down to secure the pattern. Next is to trace out the back pattern using the front piece. Trace the sides, the side of the gown, the hip area down to the full length, and also go ahead to trace out the seam allowance line. Next, we are going to extend the half length line to the zipper seam allowance, as well as the gown length and the top line. We will come down by 1/2 inch at the top line and then connect. Draw a straight line on the waist as well, and then go ahead to measure half of the waist measurement. Please ensure you are measuring from the zipper allowance line. Once you get your midpoint, mark the same point at the top line as well as the seam allowance, and then draw a straight line connecting each point together. And I'll go ahead to label it side back and center back. And next, on the zipper allowance, go in by 0.75 from the waist, and then you come down by 8 inches, and then you connect both lines together. This is to remove any zipper bulge at the back of the dress, and then you go ahead to cut it out. Back to the front piece. I'll go ahead and label the front piece, side front and center front. Next is to complete the drafting of the front piece. In order to achieve the 6 pieces effect of this dress, we'll be needing an extension to achieve this. Please ensure you use a tape to hold the extension. From where your pattern paper stopped, we'll be going out by extra 5.5 inches. You can go out by 6 inches or more, depends on how wide you want your gown. Then you connect it all the way to the waist line, and then you cut it out. And I'll do same for this. Connect your 5.5 inches starting from where your pattern paper stopped. Connect all the way to the waistline, and then you you cut it out. Now I'll go ahead and close the upper dart. We want to achieve the neckline. So we're going to use a masking tape to close the dart together. Just go ahead and close the upper dart this way. On the chest line where I labeled armhole, I will go up by 1/2 inch. This way I wouldn't want the side of my bust to be revealing. And I'll go ahead and mark the scallop neckline this way. We have just two. So we mark it this way and then we cut it out. This is basically all for the front piece and we are good to go. And then I'll proceed to add 1/2 inch when we want to cut out the fabric on the sides and the scallop neckline. For the back piece, we'll also be needing extension as well. At the zipper area, we will add extra 2.5 inches from where the pattern paper stopped. Please ensure you secure the extension with tape. And at the other side, we are adding extra 5.5 inches. And then you connect all the lines to the waistline. And then you cut out. At the back piece, we'll also do same for the side back. Connect your 5.5 inches starting from where your pattern paper stopped. Connect all the way to the waistline. Please ensure you secure the extension with tape and then you cut out. Please ensure you add your 1/2 inch seam allowance at this area and at the top. This is all for the pattern drafting of this gown. Please follow for more drafting tutorials. Thanks for watching.